Welcome into this Monday morning on Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Today on the show, we get ready for SEC Media Day starting up later today. Braves are at the All-Star break. We'll take a look back at what the first half, quote unquote, of the season was. And the Hawks have 3 total roster spots, but only one that's full-time to fill. Who might be an addition for them? It's all next. It's Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta.
This is Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. I guess we should say happy SEC Media Day to those that celebrate it. We ask you to head to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your search browser, find that page, hit that subscribe button. 2,500 folks now that are part of our community. Thank you so much for being a part and a piece of all of that. Unbelievable to think that just in a couple of months we've been able to do all that. Also, we ask you to download it free and available on all your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Odyssey, whatever ones that you enjoy. Leave us a 5-star review and then give me a follow on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. Well, starting today, right here in Atlanta, SEC Media Days, I will be down there and part of the coverage. Hopefully, we'll get you a little bonus content on our YouTube page while I'm down there this week. Be down there all 4 days of it. You know, look, we don't expect any fisticuffs, right? Like, I think we're at the point where Alabama and A&M have settled their differences, and Jimbo and Nick are on good terms again, and they're all buddy-buddy and lovey-lovey and all that good kind of stuff. What will be some of the storylines coming out of this? You know, what's funny is in most years, a guy like Brian Kelly coming over to LSU would be a mammoth story and might be like the story of the week in the conference. But with the SEC, there's always so many different things going on. I mean, we still have the fallout of the drama between Texas A&M and Alabama. Obviously, right now, the other big storyline for the SEC is both conference realignment and conference expansion. Now, do I think that the SEC is getting ready to expand some more? Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, I think we're in an arms race right now. I think that what you're seeing is all these different conferences that are going to be in the big boy football business are trying to arrange the deck chairs and basically get themselves lined up to where when that next TV contract comes due, because at this point, that's all it's about, right? So if we're breaking it down, bare bones, brass tacks, why is all of this going on? It's all about the TV money. And what the conferences care about most is what market do we not have that we can get lots of eyeballs in, because that's what TV contracts are all about, right? You wonder why California teams are playing in the Big Ten, because it's the second biggest media market in the country. And there are tens and tens of millions of eyeballs that are going to go out there. Why would a conference like the SEC be interested when it brought in Missouri? Because when you talk about Kansas City, St. Louis, that's a big enough market size to bring eyeballs in. So that's going to be an interesting discussion. Now, Mike Slive is going to speak, Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, is going to speak a little bit later on this morning. 11:30 this morning is when he'll give his state of the SEC speech and things like that. And I think there'll be a lot of questions about the idea of both how there's going to be realignment in the conference, because that's going to be a big thing too. And I like the divisions. I'm not a big fan of this, put everybody into pods and pools and all that kind of stuff. And obviously they have to get the schedule figured out, right? We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But I'm not a big fan of kind of the pod thing or whatever that they're talking about. I like 2 distinct divisions. Call me old school, but I like 2 distinct divisions. Now, we'll talk about the scheduling coming up here in just a second, but want to talk to you about my friends over at Sports Card Investor. Sports Card Investor is an unbelievable app. If you're like me and you're in the trading card hobby, and look, you've seen all of these auctions online about how many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions, right? The Logo Man triple LeBron James Logo Man card just sold for what, $2.5 million here recently. There is big major money to be had in sports card collecting now. How do you keep track of everything? How do you find out prices? How do you sort through inventory? the Sports Card Investor app is the place to go. 630,000 cards that are on the app. 630,000 cards that are on the app. And look, it's free, it's easy to browse, it's quick and easy to do anything on there with. It's going to give you prior history of sales. It's going to give you kind of what the average market price is of cards. So many different little things that are out there right now that make your life a lot easier through the Sports Card Investor app. That, look, this is something that if you're in the industry or you're looking to make a few bucks off of, maybe you've got some stuff that you don't know if it's valuable or not valuable, download the app today to check and see what your inventory is worth. So Sports Card Investor, download that today. It's available free in the Google or Apple app stores, or you can go to sportscardinvestor.com/lockedon. Again, sportscardinvestor.com/lockedon. Download that thing today. Check out their 630,000 card inventory out there and start being a smarter investor and making some money off of all this. Now, obviously, the other part, too, that the SEC is looking at is what their future scheduling is going to be. Is it going to be an eight-game, 9-game conference schedule? How many dedicated rivals, cross rivals, if you will, are they going to have? Obviously, what the SEC wants to do is get to a schedule where you are playing the better teams on a more frequent basis, right? That's what they're doing this for. They don't want it to be where Alabama and Georgia play once every decade, right? The way that they've got these models set up is that they're looking at, you'll play Alabama in a home and home over the 8 years, right? I mean, that's what they're looking at out there. Now, what will also be interesting is keeping in the ACC tie-ins that the SEC has as well. Obviously, when you get to the final weekend of the year, rivalry weekend, it's not just SEC schools that are playing one another. It's not just Alabama and Auburn in the Iron Bowl. It's not just, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. I know that's not really a rival, given how bad Vanderbilt is, but you understand what I'm saying. But there's a lot of the cross-conference rival, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Florida, Florida State, Louisville, Kentucky, right? Clemson, South Carolina. There's a lot of those good, long-standing rivals that have to be factored into this thing as well. So I expect Sankey's going to address a lot of conference realignment, conference addition, and we've heard a lot of rumors about Florida State, Virginia. And again, you say, well, why would they want those? They're not so, Virginia's not a great program. They want Virginia because it's moving up toward Baltimore, D.C., and that's as close as you can get to getting eyeballs on something, right? I mean, Richmond and all. You're trying to find markets in a TV contract that are going to bring eyeballs in. Now, from an on-field perspective, obviously, I expect them to have Georgia win the East, Alabama to win the West. It'll be interesting to see who the media thinks is going to win the SEC championship. My guess would be Alabama will be the conference favorite right now. Certainly, they bring back 2 of the 3 best players in all of football, including the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback from last year, and without question, the best defensive player in America, Will Anderson. And by the way, I did have a chance to interview Will Anderson. Great kid. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Great kid, super kid, doing so many good things. He's obviously involved in NIL, and he's helping other students out as well to try to make some money off that. So, look, Alabama's loaded up for bear. I expect that they will be the favorites to win the conference, with Georgia nipping right on their heels. But I'll be curious to see if Georgia gets some love from the standpoint of they beat Alabama, they won the national title last year. How will that breakdown be as far as Alabama, Georgia? Also, too, the other part I'm going to be interested to see with Georgia, does Stetson Bennett get any love on the first or second team? Now, look, obviously Bryce Young is the starting quarterback for the first team preseason all-SEC team. But is Stetson a guy that's going to get a little bit of love? National championship winning quarterback. I know Levis and Richardson and guys like that are getting a lot of love as far as first-round NFL draft picks. But second team all-SEC quarterback is going to be another interesting thing. And, of course, we'll have a chance to vote down there with it. So keep your eyes open. Look for some bonus content on our YouTube page. I'll be at SEC Media Days all week long. All right, when we get back, we'll take a look at the Braves through the first quote-unquote half of the season as they are officially at the All-Star break. So all next is Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta.